one of the first auxiliary departments of the CBC before the men and the youth. And our mission statement, or our mission, is drawn from the mission of Jesus Christ to the disciples in Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 to 20, and adapting it to the women's department. We exist to glorify God as a department through the lives of women, young girls, and children. The main mission is that of evangelizing and discipling in different aspects, different skills that can help them in their different areas of work in their homes. And so we empower women in the grassroots, and we also help to build the children morally to grow up in the fear of the Lord and to be good citizens. And we do that using different methods, different strategies, and all is aimed at letting the people know Jesus Christ. We started off in 1957 timidly, and the enrollment now is above 25,000 women. That is a great impact. And the impact is also felt spiritually in the lives of women. You see their zeal for the work of the Lord, their zeal to grow in the things of the Lord is also telling us that the department is impacting them in their lives. Testimonies that we receive from women as they study the women's manual, it is actually telling us that the department is impacting them in their lives as they live with their husbands, as they live at their workplaces, as they live in the community. Again, as a department, we do not only focus on the spiritual, we actually carry out holistic ministries. The women's department in the past have ministered to the Baka ethnic group in the East region. We have been visiting them with food, clothing, and the gospel. This is the holistic part that I talked about. We have ministered to the Baka people in the East and went further to employ a missionary in Kenzo. Kenzo is just a few kilometers from Central Africa, and it was not reached. So the ESCO one time went and visited the place so that it was not really reached. We worked with the Director of Evangelism and Missions, and a missionary was sent there under the sponsorship of the women's department. We saw how vast the place was, and we saw how the missionary could suffer to move from place to place, and we bought him a bike. So we know that we have impacted the East region spiritually through that missionary. We equally went to the North region of Cameroon. The women of Bamenda Ngwen were the first people to send a missionary to the northern region of the nation. And they went further to send a missionary to Kusiri. Kusiri is a few kilometers from Chad. And so we can say that the women have impacted lives spiritually, both in the east and in the north of the nation. One time when we visited the women in the north, we went to one remote area and discovered that the women were still pounding their traditional dish, the maize, they call it sorghum also, millet. They were still using their mortars to pound, and we really pitied them. When we came back, we had to buy a grinding mill and send through the Anofan, the Adamawa. Anofan is Adamawa, north, far north. We sent the leaders of that region to hand that grinding mill to the women. We have home economic centers in Lingam, which is in the Adamawa region. We have one which is now not really very functional, but it had been functional in the past in Fumte, which is in Donga Mantun division. These home economic centers, they are there to help these underprivileged girls who find it difficult to attend schools or whose parents cannot send them to schools, and they end up attending these home economic centers to learn skills, marketable skills that can help them feed well, or take care of themselves and also feed well in the community. And we have impacted the young girls in our higher institutions of learning. We have been offering motivational awards to the best female in conduct in all our CBC higher institutions of learning. And this has actually been helping them. Even as they struggle to vie for that award, they are developing their characters. Recently, when the first missionary we sent to Kenzo died after 1 year and left a widow with 2 children. So we decided that even when we employed a different missionary to take over from him, we didn't want to throw this widow and to keep her like that. So we are actually giving her a skill to be able to take care of herself and the 2 kids. We are renting a house for her and paying the apprenticeship work for her. I believe that the women's department has impacted the nation as a whole. Even the discipleship programs that the director moves and or takes to the women in the grassroots, they are testimonies of how these programs are impacting lives in the rural areas. You don't just leave the streets and join the women's department. You must first be a Christian in a local church, a registered Christian in a local church. Then to join the women's group, you go through some preparatory discipleship lessons, and the women actually work with you to see that you are a child of God first before being a member of the women's group. Through the dedication, the teachings before the dedication, mostly during the Founders Day, Women's Founders Day, that comes up during the last Sunday of every June. Let me just say, the month of June is always a serious month for the women, for those ones who are preparing to be dedicated into the women's department. So you see them running up and down to receive the training, the preparation. They are buying their uniforms, all the necessities that they need for the dedication program. Then come to their churches on Sunday. I'm just inviting whoever, the last Sunday of June every month, just visit any Baptist church and see for yourself what the women are doing, dedicating new members into that group. In the past, we have had a vision of constructing an empowerment center for the women and girls in Bamenda, specifically in Mile 3, Menda. Over the years, we have been struggling to raise finances for that project. The finances have been coming in timidly, but in 2017, precisely November, we kick-started this project. We call it a multipurpose vocational center for the women and girls. And it is a 2-story building that will house the classrooms, and the second floor will house the girls as they come to study in that facility. And we believe that there is a lot of rural exodus of young girls from the villages to town. They come to town to look for employment, to look for jobs. Some of them they are not even educated, but yet they leave the villages coming to town to look for jobs. And in the past, some of them have ended up as house helps who are ill-treated by their mistresses, and they end up going to the streets as sex workers. Then, looking at the situation, the women's department saw that this empowerment center can bring in these girls who move to towns to look for jobs, to be trained in skills that can even help them earn a living or look for jobs. Even if they are menial jobs, they will have them. the center is at the second and the last decking. We are trusting God that by the end of this year, we'll have a roof. And we are also trusting God, you being a friend to the department, that you will join to partner with us, that maybe by the end of next year, we'll already put that project into use. There is this lingam that we want to upgrade to a vocational center. The women, the girls there, they just study, they go as apprentices, but when we upgrade it to a vocational center, that will earn them a certificate that they can use to look for a job. The Fumde Home Economic Center that I mentioned is actually out of use. Though we have donated materials, we donated machines, sewing machines, we donated gas cooker, we donated things that they need for the center, for Lingam and Fumte. But Lingam is actually operational, but Fumte, we are still working with them to see that we upgrade the school, renovate it. It is not looking good. It needs some renovation. We have a main challenge, which is that of resources, literacy, finances. It is said, and I believe, that money is the wheel of the gospel. Something very special, and which is my heartbeat, is that of children's ministry and ministry to the 3H girls. The Bible commands the parents to train up their children when they are still young, so that when they are old, they will not depart from it. This has been neglected by many parents. And so we have these wayward children. And I bleed, I weep, because the CBC women are actually the people behind the children's ministry. And I want to say that this children's ministry is like a complement to what parents are supposed to do at home. So that when they fail to do their work, and they even send these children to the Children's New Life Ministry programs, these children will be helped there. And they will be good children at home, they will be good children in their communities, they will be good citizens of our nation. Not to talk of the girls. I want to challenge all the CBC parents and all my listeners, or all those who are watching this video, that the 3H ministry is a very good ministry for the girl child. Let them join these programs in our local churches, and you will just get the results from them. As they attend these programs and come back home, let them tell you what they learned that day. It's not a cult. These groups are not cults. Some parents just say, no, I will not send my child to this 3H program. I will not send my child to the Children's New Life program. Just send their children to this program. It's not only for Baptists. Even though they are organized by Baptists, you can send your children to attend these 3H programs, because even the children's ministry is in the church and in the neighborhoods. So just find out in your neighborhoods, if you have any Baptist church, find out in your neighborhood if there is any Children's New Life ministry there, and let your children attend. They have very good lessons that will raise your children. We have a branch in the US, which is very vibrant. Their coordinator reports to the women, to the CBC women, through the director. All the programs that we have here, they also run them in the US. And my challenge is that it should not only be this US extension. The CBC women in the diaspora, they should form associations and see how they can work even to assist the women's work back home or in Cameroon. So I'm using this forum to challenge the CBC women, those who have left Cameroon and are living and studying in other countries in the world, to form associations. You can be 2 of you, 3 of you, 4 of you, as you are. Then form associations of CBC women that can even study. We can send our materials to you via the internet. Just as the CBC covers the whole regions, the whole nation, that is how the CBC women covers the whole region. We are in the north, in Marewa. We have women in Akko. We have women in